So first, thanks for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to think. And I've sort of stumbled across something which I want to share. And it might be quite contentious, but I think that's what we want to do. We want to explore in a sort of real, authentic way. And setting this question about what changes would I want to see to take us out of this perilous place. And I suppose the beauty of this moment is that, and the perilous nature of it is we've not been here before. This is not nostalgia. This is not how it used to be. 8 billion people, the climate in crisis. Australia has been on fire over the summer. Oceans with as much plastic as fish, and children dying as they cross those oceans to try and find land safe from war. Now, I've got 2 daughters, both living beautiful lives as warriors for a better way, but neither want to have children. Yeah, because they don't want to bring children into a world that's so insecure. And so I made a commitment to engage with adventures that would try and create a beautiful planet again. And my life's work has been within education. And I think be many of us present today who've got roles in different parts of society. But mine has been 35 years in education, creating schools for children with them. And in trying to find the words for today, to try and take this planet to a place where it's beautiful for my daughters to want to have children and to have the beauty of being parents, I stumbled across an idea, and it's an idea about time travel and about swords and about oil tankers and about archaeology and about playing with time. And this movement that we're talking about today is about beautiful intention. And intention requires that we visualize the future that we want to inhabit. And its intention is resourced by the imagination of where we wish to be. And the world I've inhabited for over 3 decades exists despite the fact that children are our future. My daughters are the future, and their children will be the future. I've lived in schools which exist in a peculiar form of time warp, because schools are strangely backward looking. And that's the thing I want to see change. Schools are a form of social archaeology. They're physical evidence of the past manifest today, where teaching happens in the present, so we believe, but the school exists as an institution attempting to solve the problems of the past. So imagine, we're going to be talking about probably 21st century life skills that we're trying to get schools to adopt. We're a quarter of the way through the century, and we're talking about 21st life century skills as if they're something for the future. We've already missed 20 years. So if we're going to propel schools forward so they're relevant, we may need to rethink about the way we relate to time. I think one of the change I'd like to see is schools become time machines. Yeah. So I'll share an image that my very ancient Tai Chi teacher, who was also my Kendo teacher, so he used to bruise me very badly on a daily basis. Kendo is a form of martial art using a sword. He would bring a traditional samurai blade into the class. Yeah, and everyone thinks, oh my God, it's such a beautiful thing, and it's made from folded steel and it's razor sharp. And he explained the thing which has stuck with me, which I think might be relevant for today. He would say, you can choose where you live. You can live behind the blade, watching someone else wield the sword, and you can watch life happen to others. And you can be on the body of the blade, not at the edge, but on the body, and you're still moving, but you're still a passenger. You're a passenger in the flow of that piece of steel. You're experiencing life, but you're not influencing. And I think we're here because we want to influence. So we can't be there on the body. And he said, your blade is made of carbon. And there's a perfect amount of carbon. And carbon is your life experience. And if you have too much trauma, too much, the blade becomes brittle and it isn't flexible and it isn't the weapon you need to make a difference on the planet. Too much, it won't bend. Too little, it'll snap. So in order to make the blade flexible and strong, you need to get the perfect amount of carbon. So maybe this combination of people might be the perfect combination of carbon. Yeah. And you can also, he said, exist watching the blade come towards you. You can live in fear of it coming. And then he'd show us the edge. And he said, look, can you see the edge? And we'd all go, but we can't see the edge because a perfectly sharpened blade is invisible. The edge is invisible to us. And he said, well, that's where you exist. That's where you have most influence. It's in the invisible now. This is where it does its work. And so this event, the Good Seed movement today, is the now. It's on the invisible edge of the blade, I hope. And so I want to explore this idea of education and time with this image of how do we play with the future, past and present. And if schools are going to be things that we value, they're going to have to be agile, they're going to have to be listening institutions, tuned into the future, as well as reacting to the injustices of the past. And schools are brilliant at reacting to these injustices, but they're a bit like oil tankers. They take a really, really long time to slow down. You put the brakes on or you ask it to change direction, it takes a super long time. And I think that's the problem we have with education, is that it plowing forward with the brakes on, but it's going to take such a long time. And I think that's because of the way we think. And I'm not arguing schools are irrelevant, but their relevance is about curing the ills of the past and not designing themselves as places that model the future. And we need to use our imagination, our intention, to create the schools that will already be behaving as if they are at 2050. That's the only way it's going to work. Otherwise, we're going to reach the 2050 that we all fear will be standing in front of the blade as it comes towards us. And my Tai Chi master, who clearly was super bright and super capable, told us that the sword at its best, when you use intention, has already reached its destination in your mind before you mobilize the muscles to make it move. So imagine that as the way we think of education, right? The imagination has already reached the place we want it to be, and the school already exists as the school of 2050 because that's the only way it works. So intention takes us there, and we move through time and space more fluently and effectively if we've already visualized the destination. And I would suggest we think in that way, that we're already there. This is what drives design. You see, schools are the past we used to want, right? Imagine how slow they are to change. Think about the Asian tiger model, endless acquisition of facts, PISA scores, economic growth. That school is already redundant. Endless economic growth at the expense of empathy and emotional well-being is a redundant model. Millions of children exist within it. We think it's the cure. They experience the past taught as the present. The past built into the curriculum, competition, consumption, obsession with measurement, subjugation of nature, it's already there. It's redundant. Schools reflecting the last manifestation of the age of reason. Schools are the body of the blade moving through time, but not cutting through the now. They can't respond quickly enough to present need. Schools are history, and this is the problem. They're like lenses into yesterday, reflecting not what we want to see, but how it used to be. And if we're going to get the agility, the responsiveness, the courage, then we need to take school polity to the edge of the blade. For change that cannot occur at speed unless we influence policy, influence school leaders, and we're in a unique time when that might be possible. But what we need to do is think this. There's every reason to believe that change can occur at speed. Policy and curriculum need to be designed to be agile, razor sharp, and the designers need to use their imagination and intention to already be working in the schools of 2030 now, 2040 now, not solving the problem of 2020, because that takes us 25 years back in time. The problem is we're living in schools that are solving the problems of 25 years ago. Wonderful maths teaching, but not if there are no elephants to count. Amazing redesign of English, but not if there aren't any forests left to describe. So my sense is that in order to solve the perilous position we're in, we need to create schools as time machines that are already living the schools that we would like them to be. And that's the only way that we can move forward. So that would be my challenge to us. And it's only something that came up to me in the last couple of days when I was thinking about the future, about the blade. If it's already arrived at the place you want it to be, The muscles have already done the work. The mind has done it before the blade starts to move. And if we imagine schools in that way, then we are cutting through the present to our future with beautiful intention. And that might be a much more fascinating way to think about education than something that's solving the problem of 2020. It's a place that's already living in 2050. And that creates this enormous potential for change.